Alright, hello again. In this lecture, we're going to learn about adding and subtracting radicals. Before we talk about adding and subtracting radicals, we're going to remind ourselves of like terms. And you might not see the use of it just yet, so just hang on a second. Like terms have the same variable to the same power. For example, we would have something like 3x plus 5x. In which x is the same variable in both of them, and they're both to the first power. And we can combine them by combining the coefficients, and 3 plus 5 gets us 8, and we have 8x for our simplified answer. Radicals are the same way, except instead of worrying about the same variable, the same power, we have to have the same radicand. Mostly because we're only dealing with the square roots here. So, if for example we had 3 square root 2, plus 5 square root 2. And this kind of looks familiar to the example I gave you with like terms. Square root 2 here we could treat as if it's an x. And when we add these, because the radicals have the same radicand, we just need to add the coefficient, so to speak. And coefficient isn't the proper term, but that's how we'll think of it from now on. The thing in front of the radical. 3 plus 5 gets us 8. Square root 2 comes along for the ride, and there's our simplified radical. And that's what we'll have to do. But as you're probably already guessing, not all of our problems are this easy. So let's see one that's a little bit more challenging, where we're asked to add. And we have, let's see if I can write this properly, 4 square root 5 plus 2 square root 45. At first glance, you might be thinking, well, I don't have to do anything because 5 is not the same as 45. And that's correct. If the radicands are not the same, we can't add them. But if we can simplify the radicals, then we have to do that and then double check again if maybe the radicands turned out to be the same. So the square root of 5, we can't get any simpler than that. So we're stuck with 4 times square root 5. That's not going anywhere. Now we have plus 2 times. Now the square root of 45 we might be able to simplify. In fact, 2 things can go into 45 besides 1 in itself. We'll say 5 and 9. 5 is prime, that's the end of the road there. 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. And because we have the buddy system, the 3 can come out and the 5 is left behind. Now be careful that 2 out front is being multiplied by what's going on here when we reduce the radical. So it's still out there. Now we can mess with this a little bit more. We have 4 times square root of 5 plus 2 times 3 we can multiply together. Gets us 6 square root 5. And because now we have square root 5 and square root 5, the radicands are the same, we can add the coefficient, so to speak. And 4 plus 6 gets us 10 square root 5. And that's our final answer.